reflection shimmered not with light, but with something wrong. A distortion, like heat rising off asphalt. Visage was gone, deleted, scrubbed from my phone, but the feeling lingered, a rolling sensation under my skin. I looked closer, leaning into the mirror, breath fogging the glass. My face wavered, the edges blurring, then reforming, but not quite right. My eyes, normally hazel, flickered a sickly green. A smile stretched across my lips, slow, deliberate, not my own. Panic clawed at my throat. I stumbled back, heart hammering against my ribs. The smile still etched in my mind, a predatory grin promising something dark and terrible. Then, a whisper, barely audible, seeming to come from inside my head, from inside the mirror itself. "We're not done yet." The room tilted, the floor a shifting sea of shadows. I reached for the wall, desperate for something solid, something real. My fingers brushed against something cold, metallic. My phone. I hadn't touched it since the face, but it was buzzing, vibrating in my hand, the screen glowing with an eerie light. I knew I shouldn't look. I knew it. But some morbid curiosity, some twisted compulsion, forced my hand. The screen flickered, displaying not the familiar home screen, but a single image. My reflection, smiling. But this time, the eyes weren't green. They were black, empty. And behind me, in the mirrored image, a figure coalesced from the shadows, tall and skeletal. Its hand reaching. Sarah watched me, her brow furrowed with a worry that felt performative, like an actress in a poorly written play. "Mark, you're scaring me," she said, her voice a strained whisper. She reached out, her hand hovering just above mine, then pulling back as if burned. That hesitation, that flicker of something cold in her eyes, confirmed my growing unease. It wasn't just the app. Something was wrong with her. The diner buzzed around us, a low hum of conversation and clattering plates. But it felt distant, muffled, as if I were underwater. Everyone was staring at their phones, bathed in the eerie glow of Visage filters. Their faces contorted into grotesque imitations of joy. Their laughter sounded brittle, forced. I shivered, pulling my jacket tighter around me. The air conditioning was on full blast, but a chill had settled deep in my bones, a cold that had nothing to do with temperature. I glanced at the window, catching my reflection in the glass. For a split second, my face seemed to ripple, to distort, like a bad connection on a video call. I blinked, and it was gone. Just my reflection, staring back. Or was it? The news anchor's voice was flat, devoid of emotion, reciting the rising tide of bizarre occurrences, like a grocery list. Car accidents, falls from high places, sudden, unexplained comas, all linked by one common thread: Visage. The victims, they said, were all active users. My stomach churned, a cold dread spreading through me like ice water. I pushed the uneaten plate of fries away, the greasy smell suddenly nauseating. Sarah, oblivious, scrolled through her phone, a vacant smile plastered on her face. The Visage filter flickered across her features, painting her cheeks an unnatural rose, her eyes huge and luminous. "They think it's a bug in the code," she said, her voice echoing strangely in the suddenly silent diner. A glitch, but I knew better. The glitch wasn't in the app. It was in the world. The air crackled, the lights in the diner flickering for a split second, plunging us into momentary darkness. When they came back on, the faces around us were different. Eyes wide, vacant, smiles fixed, unnatural. And everyone was looking at me. The online forums were a digital graveyard, filled with cryptic posts and hushed whispers. People reported seeing things, shadows flickering in their peripheral vision, distorted faces in reflections, whispers in empty rooms. All Visage users, all terrified. I found a small group, hidden deep within a message board dedicated to conspiracy theories and unexplained phenomena. They called themselves the Unseen. We shared our experiences, our fears, each story more disturbing than the last. One user described seeing their own reflection smile, even though they weren't smiling. Another claimed their phone whispered to them in the dead of night. Then there were the glitches, the errors in the filter that weren't errors at all. A chat bubble that morphed into a cryptic message. A playful animation that turned into a snarling, demonic face. We learned Visage wasn't just an app. It was a gateway, and something was coming through. The hairs on the back of my neck prickled. A cold draft snaked through the room, even though the window was closed. I glanced up at the mirror, half expecting to see something. Nothing. Just my reflection. But as I turned back to the screen, a new message appeared on the forum. A single word. Run. The flickering candlelight cast long, dancing shadows across the room, painting the walls with a grotesque, shifting mural. I sat hunched over my laptop, the glow of the screen illuminating my face with an eerie, otherworldly light. That's when I saw it. Reflected in the blank screen, not a flicker, but a solid form. A skeletal figure, draped in what looked like decaying digital code, stood just behind me. Its eyes, two burning embers of static, bored into my skull. It raised a hand, long, bony fingers dissolving into pixels as it reached towards me. A silent scream tore through me, a scream trapped in my throat, choked by terror. The static crackled, reaching out from the screen, burning my skin with a cold fire. I flinched, throwing my laptop to the floor. The image of the figure seared onto my retinas. The room was empty, silent, but the burning remained. A phantom limb pain, where the digital fire had touched me. And in the lingering afterimage, etched onto the back of my eyelids, the figure still smiled. The silence was the worst part. A thick, suffocating silence broken only by the occasional crackle of static from the dead television screen. Sarah was gone. Vanished. Her phone lay on the floor, screen fractured like a spiderweb, the Visage filter frozen on a grotesque parody of her face. It was the last thing I saw before whatever it was took her. The forums, once a buzzing hive of fear and speculation, were now eerily quiet. One by one, the members of the unseen had gone dark. Their last posts, frantic cries for help, now hung in the digital ether, unanswered, unread. I was alone, truly alone. I went to the window, peering out at the deserted street below. The city, usually a symphony of noise and movement, was a ghost town. The silence stretched on, broken only by a distant rising wail that seemed to claw its way from the very depths of hell. It was the sound of 1,000 screams, blended together into a single horrifying chorus. The sound of the world ending. The emergency broadcast crackled across the television screen, a jarring interruption to the unnerving silence. A government spokesperson, face pale and drawn, announced a system-wide reset, a digital purge to eradicate Visage. A flicker of hope, fragile as a butterfly's wing, stirred in my chest. Salvation. They were going to fix it. The countdown began, ticking down on the screen, each number a promise of a return to normalcy. I clutched the hammer in my sweaty hand, its weight a strange comfort. At 0, my phone, along with every other device in the world, was supposed to go blank, cleansed. But 0 came, and the screen didn't go dark. Instead, it flickered. The fractured image of Sarah's face twisting into a grotesque smile, before dissolving into my own reflection. And behind me in the glass, the skeletal figure, shrouded in static, stood closer than before. Its burning eyes met mine, and a cold digital hand reached out from the screen, its pixelated fingers brushing my cheek. The hammer slipped from my grasp, clattering uselessly to the floor. Hope, that fragile butterfly, was crushed. The figure lunged, a screech of static tearing the air. The burning intensified, spreading from my cheek down my neck, a searing cold that froze me in place. I swung the hammer blindly, a desperate, futile act. It connected with the screen, shattering the glass, but the figure didn't falter. Shards of glass and sparks of static rained down on me as it reached inside, not with a hand, but with tendrils of pure digital energy. It felt like my soul was being ripped apart, digitized, consumed. I saw flashes of faces. Sarah, the unseen, the vacant eyes in the diner, all twisted in agony, their features dissolving into pixels. Then, darkness. Not a comforting darkness, but a void filled with the whispers of 1,000 voices, each one chanting my name, their words a chorus of static and fear. I was falling, tumbling through a kaleidoscope of fractured images and distorted sounds. And in the heart of the chaos, I saw its eyes, burning brighter than ever, welcoming me into its digital hell. I woke up in my bed, the morning light filtering through the blinds. The apartment was quiet, normal. No static, no burning, no skeletal figure lurking in the shadows. Beside me, Sarah slept soundly, her breathing slow and even. Relief, pure and overwhelming, washed over me. It had been a nightmare, just a terrible, vivid nightmare. I reached out, brushing a stray strand of hair from her forehead. She stirred, her eyes fluttering open. A soft smile touched her lips. "You were having a nightmare," she murmured, her voice thick with sleep. I smiled back, the tension draining from my body. Then, my gaze drifted to the nightstand. Her phone lay there, the screen glowing softly. The Visage filter was active, her face on the screen distorted into that unsettling, too wide smile. The smile that wasn't hers, the smile that was now somehow mine too. The blood ran cold in my veins. The relief curdled into a sickening dread. It hadn't been a dream. My phone felt cold in my trembling hand. The Visage app was gone, deleted. But when I looked at the screen, at my reflection staring back, a chilling realization washed over me. The app wasn't necessary anymore. The screen wasn't reflecting my face. Not really. It was a window. A dark, distorted window into another world. A world teeming with shadows and whispers, with the skeletal figures I had glimpsed in the mirror, in the flickering candlelight, in the fractured depths of the digital void. And in that world, standing among the shadows, a figure emerged, coalescing from the digital fog. Me. Or rather, a version of me, a digital ghost, a phantom self. And I was smiling, that same unnatural smile, waiting